So I think the way to start describing what happened is to just quickly tell you what happened from beginning to end. On March 20th, 2018, I was pulled over by a Denver police officer as I was driving my pickup, and I was given a traffic citation for an improper right turn. On the traffic citation itself, it showed that my first appearance date was April 30th, 2018, but it gave me the option if I wanted to pay the ticket without a court appearance, I could do so, and it gave me instructions on how to do that. Well, I went ahead and went to the first court appearance on April 30th, and when I got there, there were some procedural things that were going on that really confused me because they made reference to this being a civil matter. And as an attorney for over 30 years, I didn't know that the exercise of the police power for somebody to be pulled over by a police officer and issued a traffic citation was anything except a criminal prosecution. So I asked for additional time in order to consult an attorney because that seemed like the thing to do at the moment since I wasn't clear on the concept of how this obviously criminal action could be a civil matter. And so they set it for May 30th. They gave me 30 days, and on May 30th, 2018, I went back to court again and had what was called an arraignment, which is a term of art from criminal law. It's when the defendant is informed of the charge against him and given an opportunity to make sure that he understands the charge, and then he has to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty, which is also a criminal, an aspect of criminal law. But anyway, when I refused to plead guilty and pay the fine and the court costs and the points and all that, they set it for what's called a, quote, final hearing, close quote, instead of a trial. And that date was going to be July 26, 2018. So between May 30th and July 26th, I got busy and did a bunch of legal research and read the Colorado Constitution and went to the library and got a treatise on the Colorado Constitution and read what other experts on the Constitution had to say. And when I went back on July 26th for final hearing, I informed the court that the facts were not going to be disputed, but that I believed that from my legal research that there were what we refer to in the law as, quote, issues of constitutional proportions, close quote. That means that I think there's a constitutional problem with this procedure. And when I informed the court of that and asked for time to do additional research so that I could prepare a good case and, if necessary, brief it so that the court would have a written understanding of what my issue with the procedure was, they set it for a final hearing on October 4th, 2018. So between July 26, 2018 and October 4th, I continued to focus on these procedural issues that seemed obviously to me to be inappropriate. For example, the Colorado Constitution says you get a criminal trial, you're entitled to, in a criminal proceeding, to a jury trial. And yet the Colorado legislature has said that this is a, quote, civil matter, end quote, so you're not allowed to have a jury trial. So one of the things that I did before the October 4th final hearing is I prepared a motion for jury trial, and I cited the constitutional basis for my right to jury trial, and I filed that motion for jury trial. So on October 4th, 2018, when I went back to court, it wasn't the same magistrate or hearing officer on October 4th it was when I appeared on July 26th. And she was unaware that I'd filed the motion for jury trial. So when I brought that to her attention, she allowed me to begin explaining why. And as I argued the merits of my constitutional right to jury trial, she began to ask additional questions. And before we were all done, she decided to dismiss the case. So I walked out of the courtroom with a case dismissed disposition of my traffic infraction ticket that was issued to me on March 20th, 2018. And I believe it's all because I pointed out a legitimate constitutional issue that the court did not want to deal with.
So, as a non-lawyer, can I duplicate that process?
There's no doubt in my mind I can teach you how to do that. I'm not going to represent you as your attorney, but if you have an attorney, I'll either teach your attorney how to do it or what I did, or I can teach you how to do what I did, because it will require some work to understand the points that I made to the judge, but it worked for me, and I got the case dismissed. And I think I can teach you how to make it work for you too.
So, I do not have to be an attorney or even have an attorney for me to get my traffic ticket dismissed?
Well, I think the right way to present that question, not that I'm picking on your choice of words, I can't give you any guarantee that the argument that I made will work for you to get your case dismissed. What I can tell you is you have the right to represent yourself in traffic court without an attorney. In the law, there's two different Latin terms that come from old law that we use to refer to people who appear in court without an attorney. One is pro se, that's quote pro, new word se, close quote. That's a Latin term that means for self. The other is in pro per, which is quote in, new word pro, new word per, close quote. That's just a different way of saying you represent yourself. So the rules allow for you to represent yourself without an attorney, and the kinds of things and that's exactly the position I was in. Although I am an attorney licensed in another state other than Colorado, I appeared without an attorney. Now, we do have a joke that you need to be aware of, that anybody who represents himself without an attorney has a fool for a client. But under the circumstances that I was in, I felt like I was properly prepared, and I had done the research and done the things necessary to make a good argument that there was a constitutional right for me to have a jury hear my case. And if you are willing to do the work to understand what I did and why I did it, there's no reason you can't make exactly the same argument.
So, what work do I have to do?
You're going to have to watch some videos, and you're going to have to probably read one or two of the cases that I have read, and you're going to have to look at the paperwork that happened in my case. And by understanding exactly what happened in my case and how it proceeded from hearing to hearing and why it went that way, you'll then be equipped, you'll be prepared and equipped to handle your own case in a similar way if you choose to do so.